A duke is not crowned overnight. He does not enter into the world of the privileged by chance alone. Well, at least not on this show. Today, we introduce our Duke of the Week, a fearless entrepreneur who has revolutionized Vietnam's staple and humble cuisine, authentic beef noodles or phở bò. At just 43 years of age, Dr. Trung owns one of Vietnam's largest fast food chains and manages 8 other different brands of restaurants. I meet up with Dr. Trung at the Nam An Group's corporate headquarters in Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam to get a taste of his remarkable talent and to find out why he has been dubbed the bold new face of Vietnamese enterprise.
Dr. Trung, you were born into an influential family, but your family's privileges were stripped away during the communist takeover. Can you tell me how your family coped with during that time?
After the liberation, 1975, the country was running a tough time, a difficult time. It's the situation for everyone, all the Vietnamese living in the country in Vietnam at that time. So our family is no exception. It took a few years to get over that.
Now, you're a very successful businessman today, and how much of this was due to the setbacks that you experienced in your past?
I've been through a lot of difficulties, but I think I have earned a lot of experience. I was not successful in entering university. I failed university, so I started to work as a waiter at the hotel. Once I took that job, entering the hotel environment, I fell in love.
With a kind sponsor, consolidated savings and sheer hard work, Dr. Trung was determined to pursue his education in Australia. With just $200 to his name and a smattering of English, a young Dr. Trung arrived in Sydney. That was just the start of his problems.
Was it a very big culture shock for you going to Australia and coming from Asia?
It was. Everything was new, even seatbelts. I remember my friend's wife picked me up at the airport, and on the way back to her house, she reminded me to seatbelt. And I had no idea what seatbelt is. But that time in Vietnam, all motorcycles.
Did you speak English then?
I worked as a waiter and receptionist, so I did speak English, but not up to university standard. So I had a very difficult time for the first year of university.
So what did you study in university in Sydney?
I took hospitality management. It involved a lot of presentation, and it was so tough to speak in public because in Vietnam we are not trained to speak in public.
Within a year, fellow classmates saw a totally different man when he made a name for himself as an excellent speech deliverer in the Faculty of Tourism at the University of Western Sydney. Realizing that he could do anything he wanted if he set his mind to it, Dr. Trung went on to become senior residential student at the university's campus, attained a master's in hospitality management, a PhD, the prestigious Asia Executive Award from Australia, and finally returned to Ho Chi Minh City in 1995. When we come back from the break, I explore the next chapter of Dr. Trung's life back in his hometown. Welcome back to The Duke. Our Duke of the Week, Dr. Trung, is an entrepreneurial mastermind. With enough enthusiasm and drive to feel the Mekong River, Dr. Trung returned to Vietnam after his studies and revamped an underperforming hotel as general manager in his first major job after graduation. With money saved from the job, Dr. Trung invested and secured bank loans to establish the Nam An Group, which manages restaurants, cafes, and ice cream parlors in Vietnam. Always on the lookout for new ventures, Dr. Trung made a bold and risky decision to repackage Vietnam's staple cuisine, phở bò, or beef noodles, into a fast food concept. At the time, his idea seemed especially radical due to the fact that most phở bò outlets were simple, family-run businesses, not intimidating, brightly lit fast food branches. For more than a year, Dr. Trung and his family conducted taste tests to arrive at a recipe which would appeal to the slightly different tastes of both Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh. The Pho 24 recipe is now a patented trade secret, and 60 restaurants later, it is Dr. Trung who's had the last laugh. In order to appreciate the raw talent and the grit that Dr. Trung possesses, I have to try out the product of
Wow, that looks really, really good.
See the smell?
Yeah.
Very good. A little bit more
good.
pepper.
Yes, pepper's good.
Let's go to the table
Alright.
and have a sit.
Okay, thank you. Yay!
It's optional.
Thank you. How do you say thank you in Vietnamese?
Cảm ơn.
Cảm ơn.
Cảm ơn.
Cảm ơn. Thank you. Wow.
Smell good, huh? Cảm ơn em.
Come on. Dr. Trung, why is this place called Pho 24? What's the significance of 24?
That's 24 secret
Ingredients.
to cook the prawn, the soup.
So how is the pho at Pho 24 different from other stalls?
Our pho at Pho 24 is more healthy. We put less fat, less sugar, less salt, so it's kind of trendy.
Every new startup comes with its own set of problems. For Dr. Trung, it was an especially risky venture because he was molding a street food concept into a fast food model, something that no one had ever dreamed of before in Vietnam. To his credit, Pho 24 now sells 14 to 15,000 bowls a day.
What other expansion plans do you have for Pho 24?
I plan in next 3 to 4 years. I got to have Pho 24 in every corner of the country. For overseas, it's going to be like 200 stores in 5 years' time.
To many, Dr. Trung is a savvy businessman and a trendsetter in the hospitality industry. Yet how much do we really know about the man behind the success?
Now, you're also a painter in your spare time, and I know that you do portraits as well. I saw one of it in your office just now. When did you get into this?
I started to paint 5 years ago. It's a hobby. I realized that everybody could paint, and it's very much enjoyable.
So is it very therapeutic for you?
It's kind of a stress release. It's much better than reading a book or watching an action movie because your head is very clear and go to sleep very well.
With my taste buds tingling with a playful mix of spices and herbs of pho, and our conversation intensifying just like the lunchtime customer count at Pho 24, I had to ask Dr. Trung what qualities a successful businessman should have. You know, just in case I decided I could be the food franchise queen of the future.
To become entrepreneur, people do need a great passion. You've got to make it happen. So the passion will drive the person to be a successful entrepreneur.
What is your definition of a real man?
It's a very tough question. I think the real man, like me, is a real man.
I knew it!
Okay, a real man is got to have ambition and passion. Do with passion. So I think I've got that. So I'm
So you're
a real man.
Dr. Trung has earned every bit of his success, and he continues to serve as a role model for an emerging generation of entrepreneurial Vietnamese. Now, he's a perfect example of someone who played harder to win when the stakes were down, and boy, did he win. And now for the second bowl of pho.